everybody, and welcome to the show. I was trying to find something I did not put in. So, hello, everybody, and welcome to the program. I'm Chris Heidel here on a beautiful May 10th here in the Mid-Atlantic. I know George Bashira is out in Indiana. Are you done with the snow finally?
I think we're past it. Today was the second day in a row that was hotter outside than in the house.
Wow. Jeez. And Adam, you're used to 80 degrees, so it's been 80 degrees for the.
Yeah, it sure has. It has felt like summer here in North Carolina, and I cannot complain about it whatsoever. I've been enjoying it.
Nice. So tonight on the program, we had a change in the schedule. Folks, our good friend KyleTroup had a family situation to attend to, so he'll be on next Tuesday night. So around 7:45, we'll play. I had a chance to talk to Mark Packer, George from Packer and Durham, and Mark is very cool, nice guy. You know, we talked about the ACC football, about the spring meetings, and his love for the San Francisco Giants.
Really?
Yeah, and he's from North Carolina, and he decided to pick the Giants when he was a kid growing up because he got tired of listening to Brave games and Yankee games.
Well, anytime that this is involved.
You know the funny thing is I don't mind the chop. Okay, with Florida State, you know, and the Kansas City Chiefs, you know, I like both teams. But when the Braves played it, I start going to go, oh God, really? Why are you playing my chop? You know, and I'm like, wait a minute, they're the Braves. They do it all the time, and I just should just deal with it. Yeah.
And don't forget about Mark Packer's two dogs, Chester and Fuller, who
he was talking to me last week about how he like a couple of years ago they built a studio in the
smallest violin.
Oh, thanks, buddy. Welcome back, Steve. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Here we go.
Welcome back, Steve.
Here we go. It's only been 4 minutes into the show, and we're already attacking the host. You go. Yep. You go. But anyway, so so he was telling me they built a studio in his basement. So ESPN came up to him and said, "We're going to do a production in your basement." He goes, "My basement, really?" So they built a state-of-the-art studio in his basement. Yeah, and it's like, wow. And he's like, yeah, and we have people coming by at 6 a.m. to join us, and my wife's like, "You want a cup of coffee?" It's like,
well, you know they say breakfast means commitment. Building a studio in your basement means a lot of commitment.
Right. I told him like you should get a sponsor for like Bojangles for breakfast.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, or Popeyes for lunch. You
get a Bojangles sausage and egg biscuit with some home fries. Yeah. You're gelling like a felon.
I know
exactly.
We'll definitely be over his house for that. You know, so. Yeah. So, folks, tonight on the program, around 8:05, we have former Red Sox shortstop Greg Blosser. So we got a Red Sox fan in the building here.
Adam's going to be chomping at the bit for that one.
Well, he only played a season and a half with the Red Sox before he went off to Japan. So, yeah, but he didn't really get, too involved with the Red Sox. But he was part of some of the stuff in 93, 94. And we got our engineer here stopping by. We have pets here in this program. we have cats and everybody stopping by. So that's 8:05 tonight, and then that's our first real guest. Around 8:45, we have Disco DanFord joining us. I talked to him on the phone today. He's going to be in the field, George and Adam. So we're going to talk to him by telephone. He races horses in Louisiana.
Nice. All right. Cool.
And I told him this afternoon when I was talking on the phone, I think it's kind of hard to bring your laptop and put it on top of a horse and try to do an interview when the horse is going. We could be the first. We could be the first show for that.
Hey, we've had a lot of things happen on this show.
Oh
exactly. Yeah, I'll agree to that.
The whole month of April, we had like the nuttiest month we ever did on the show. Yeah. I think it kicked off with that guy from the Kansas City Royals that started using his show to sell his book and his pills. I
was on. I remember that. I remember that.
It's all about the merchandising, man.
I know. It's like Like when do we become QBC? You know, that's what I'm saying. Act now by George's. George, you want to sell your car? Yeah, you might get somebody to come buy your car. Yeah, like come on.
I'm lost for words.
I know. I'm like sitting there going, really? Are we selling stuff here? Yeah. So you saw the other day the NFL is coming out with their schedule this week, and you saw Monday Night Football. I guess they skipped week 1. I guess that's not important. So they go with the week 2 doubleheader. I thought it would have been week 1 doubleheader on ESPN. I guess they wanted to, make it a week 2 doubleheader. I don't know.
Well,
yeah.
Don't get me started about that stuff.
Okay.
Because
we got time.
when the news comes out and they say that they had to rearrange the whole schedule because Tom Brady came out of retirement, one person is not that important, folks.
I know.
Thank you.
Exactly. It's like, why do you have to rearrange the schedule? Why? Because Tom didn't want to go travel to the West Coast? Oh.
Especially since he's got a 10 years, $350 million deal coming up when he retires with as an analyst for Fox Sports. It's like, does the guy need any more freaking money?
I think you should just quit now. If you're getting a 10-year deal for Fox, why are you playing?
Tom, go enjoy your family.
Go
enjoy your family.
George. I'll agree with that.
I don't want anything to happen to the guy, but it'll be really sad that he snaps.
I'm looking at it this way: anybody that pays him more than $5 million just for 1 year is out of their mind.
Hey, I want to see what Monday Night Football is going to be like with Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. That's going to be it's going to be Fox on ESPN.
Hey, pair of Cowboys alumni. Hey, I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
So the flip side of that, at least we're not going to have to see him every freaking Sunday on NFL.
Thank you.
Covering the Dallas Cowboys like he wants.
Thank you.
Or now you're going to see him on Monday night. Like, hey, I'm Joe Buck. Hi, I'm Joe Buck. And here is whispering to my broadcast partner, Troy Aikman, in a couple minutes. Okay.
I was really hoping they'd break those two up because I want to like Troy Aikman, but it's like, it's Troy Aikman and then there's his shadow. Oh, hi, Shadow. And he's talking to Joe Buck.
Or no, it's Troy Aikman like, where am I? You're in Dallas. How many concussions do you got? A lot.
Yeah. Actually, I was reading something online that Joe Buck's going to make his ESPN debut as part of an alternate telecast of the PGA Championship this year. They're going to do a thing like they do with the Peyton and Eli Manning, have an alternate telecast. And some of the guests I saw were going to be Fred Couples. They're going to have Peyton and Eli Manning. They're going to have Doris Burke from ESPN. They're going to have a lot of interesting guests on there all 4 days. So
right.
It's gonna be interesting.
I don't get it. I don't get why we have to have alternate broadcasting now. Because Eli and Peyton did a great job with other people coming on ESPN too. Now we have to have Michael Kay and A-Rod do their little thing on ESPN for baseball, and then now you got Joe Buck doing the alternate version on about the PGA tournament, PGA Championship. What he's going to broadcast with his underwear and just go, hey, this is the alternate broadcast. Yeah, I'm not even at the course.
I think what it is that Peyton Manning owns Omaha Productions, and I think thanks to that they've teamed up with ESPN on a lot of stuff. So that's why you're seeing alternate telecast of Monday Night Football. So I guess it's all about the money.
Yeah, all about the cash. I wish we could be involved in an alternate broadcasting. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Chris Heidel in Baltimore. George is in Indianapolis, and Adam is somewhere between North Carolina and Raleigh.
Basically a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They call down there.
The Devil's Triangle. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
My parents lived down there.
Hey, I like that area. It's really nice. Raleigh's a
Yeah.
nice place.
Well, I live in the Smoky Mountains. I live in the western part of the state near the Tennessee border. So it's like, I have talked to a lot of, it is a beautiful part of the country. I have talked to a lot of tourists from all over. So
my parents thought they were going to have to put up a room for me there at the NASCAR Hall of Fame because they couldn't get me out of the simulator that I went there.
Nice.
All right, Steve. Okay.
Nice. Other sports news. George, did you see that Mike Tyson did not get arrested for beating the crap out of the guy on the plane?
And he should not have.
Yeah. And I'm sorry. That's Mike Tyson. Okay. You don't, excuse my friends, piss him off. Okay. The guy is a boxer.
There's a simple phrase, Chris.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what it is?
What?
Play stupid game, win stupid prizes.
Thank you.
My thoughts exactly.
Exactly. It's like, why in the world are you antagonizing this guy?
Because it was a chance. He thought he'd have a chance of making millions of dollars on an assault.
Yeah. It's like really, dude? Yeah. Yeah, I got some video of it.
That's this, and it goes to the point, Chris. But that's just the state of the world. Right. Everybody thinks that they can just do whatever they want to somebody, and there's no repercussions.
Yeah, here's the plane. Yeah, that looks like Mike Tyson's Punch Out. I'd seen that before. I'm like, you don't antagonize the guy. See, look, dude. Sit down in your seat. Yeah, you're on
Shut your mouth.
You're on JetBlue. Shut up. And stop bothering him. What Mike should have done was, if the guy was bothering, he should have took the high road and get like a steward or somebody and say, "Can you get him moved, please?" Yeah, he's really bothered me.
Thank you. Yeah. I agree, Chris.
Yeah, but you don't antagonize a guy who could bite your ear off, and he did.
But see, it goes to the point though. He's a tough guy. You're annoying the crap out of him. He didn't want to rat you out. He gave you enough rope, and in the end, I'm sorry. I value life too much. I'd rather shake Mike Tyson's hand than get him punched by him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna tell your kids when you got older? Mike Tyson, the heavyweight champion, he beat the piss out of me in the. I'm like, really? I hope that really helps you, bud.
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
It should be like, you should have the guy from Let's Make a Deal, Wade Brady on there, like behind door number 3, you got Mike Tyson beating the crap out of you. Door number 2, you want to leave him alone. And door number 3, you might go to a Giants baseball game. What do you want? It's like,
yep.
Yeah, it's like, come on, idiots. That's just dumb.
Thank you. And what that fan did to Chris Paul's family at the
I saw that last night. I was watching it this afternoon. What did he do? I tried to pick it up on my
I think he said some
you can't bowl
bad words. And actually what they did is he can't come back until next year. And it's like it was Mother's Day, and it's like all Chris Paul's family wanted to do is, enjoy the game, and somebody had to ruin it.
So, Adam, the guy is suspended for one game?
No, it's called he can't come back to the arena until next year. He's suspended for a year.
Oh, the following. So he's done for the whole next year. Okay.
No.
Okay, I'm thinking the way you're saying next year, I'm thinking like what, after this playoff series?
That's so stupid. Banned until next year. Come on. People just get rid of them.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll agree, George. I'll agree, man.
I agree. Get rid of them. So the other Monday Night Football game in week 2, you got the Vikings and Eagles from Philadelphia on ABC. So I don't know if you really want to watch that garbage. Yeah, that's like. Yeah, the Eagles are. Yeah, they have Jalen Hurts, and I guess they barely made it to the postseason last year because they had an expanded postseason roster. And then you got the Vikings, who basically has a new coach now, and Kirk Cousins is. I think Kirk Cousins still there?
He is. He's still there, Chris.
I thought he was traded or somebody was getting rid of him.
He's still in Minnesota, as far as I know.
So, Chris, the thing behind the guy getting thrown out for the year,
Yeah.
it wasn't that he was saying something to them. He tried to hug her.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, where's the 6 feet rule?
That's what
There,
I'd like to know,
there is no more boundaries.
Yeah, I was
That's
scared.
the problem.
I was in scared mode last night with Nicole's doctor. I was like, she was like coming up to me. I was like, "Excuse me, personal space." Yeah.
It's like I told somebody the other day, it was getting about something like that with the personal space. I looked at him, it's like, "Have you been playing Space Invaders recently?" And he goes, "No, why?" I was like, "Because you're invading my space. Back up."
Back up.
Get out of my grill.
Yeah, get out of my grill, dude. So in the meantime, let's talk to, I had a chance to talk to Mark Packer. Yeah, he's 1/3 or 1/2 of the Packer and Durham on the ACC network. If you're not on Comcast, you may be trying to find it. Yeah. I guess, have they settled that stuff already?
Yes. There's the ACC network is now on Xfinity.
Oh my God. And you can listen to West Durham talk about what he doesn't know. Yeah. Yeah. No, Wes is very nice. Don't get me wrong. He's just, I don't understand why he's on a morning show. Probably because his father was legendary North Carolina Tar Heel. It's like, I'm like, okay, he's not Bob Murphy or Chris Schenkel. Yeah. So who are you? Yeah. Yeah. Like if you did Super Bowls and World Series and everything else like Al Michaels does, then you're popular. But if you only sit in the state of North Carolina to do North Carolina Tar Heel basketball, okay, yeah, thanks for playing. Yeah.
Yep.
So here is Mark Packer. I had a chance to talk to him last Thursday, part 1 of 3, because him and I had a great conversation about other stuff as well. So here it is. Let's hit record. All right, good evening, everybody. I have Mark Packer with us. So you see him a lot on weekday mornings on the ACC network with his good friend Wes Durham, who they're down in Packer's basement. So how's that going for the last couple of years?
It's crazy, Chris. When ESPN said, "Hey, we got this idea," I'm like, "You're going to do what?" "And we're going to come into your basement." I said, "My basement, you don't want to come in here." I mean, my wife doesn't even want to come in here. The only people that would like to come in here are my dogs, only because they feel sorry for me. So ESPN came in here and turned what really was an ugly man cave into this state-of-the-art, crazy 4-camera, 29-light studio. Jeez. And they did that all before COVID, before all this became kind of normal, that you can operate out of your house. So it's really amazing. But people still think that this is like really in a studio, but it's not. It's literally in the basement of my house.
So is Wes back there with you now, or is he still on the other side at his own house, or how's everything going with this COVID stuff?
Well, Wes is back with me, but he does the show from his house a bunch in Cartersville. Okay. He's got an apartment here, and of course he's trying to have a life as well. His wife is back in Georgia and all that stuff. So he's trying to juggle 800 balls in the air, but we try to get into the studio, or at least into my basement, as often as possible.
That's cool. That's awesome. So let's talk about the state of the ACC right now for football. Last year Pitt won the ACC championship, beating Wake Forest. Do you feel like they are the favorites this year, or you feel like, what do you think about Clemson? Because you're a Clemson grad. You think Dabo and his new coaches going to make sure everything's going to work well?
Well, I think there's a lot of intrigue, I think, going into 22. I mean, obviously what Pitt did last year, Pat Narduzzi, Kenny Pickett coming back was kind of a poster child of, hey, isn't this refreshing? A guy didn't take the money, decided to come back, further his education. Obviously, it helped him as far as the NFL draft, going number 20 overall to Pittsburgh. Pat and his guys had a great year, and they earned it, right? They beat Clemson in the regular season. They took care of business. They won the division. They took care of business against Wake Forest in the championship. And they should get some consideration, obviously, for the coastal race. I think there's going to be a lot of hype about Miami. Mario Cristobal comes back home. He's acquired an incredible staff, in my opinion. Do they have all the pieces? I don't know if they have all of them, but I tell you what they do have. They have a quarterback. And TVD coming back, he's going to be a guy that's going to get a ton of Heisman hype. I do think the league is going to have the best collection of quarterbacks of any conference conference in the country. They did last year. I think they'll do that again this year. So I think Pittsburgh and Miami will probably be your 1-2 combination in the Coastal. But, of course, trying to figure out the ACC's Coastal is always, proceed with caution. And there'll be some others that want to stick their nose in their business. North Carolina needs to have a bounce back year after last year. What does Brent Pry do at Virginia Tech will be fun to watch. And then the Atlantic Division, in my opinion, I think it's going to be one of the most underrated divisions in all of college football. Wake Forest wins it last year. Dave Clawson has done a brilliant job. They've got everybody and their brother back, including Sam Hartman. NC State, Dave Doran will have his best team without question. Some of these way too early preseason top 25 polls, you've seen NC State in the top 10. Then you've got Clemson, right? I think defensively they may be as good in 22 as we've ever seen them, and that's saying something given the fact that Dabo's won 2 national titles. The big question is going to be, do they get production at quarterback with DJ, or is Cade Klubnik, the big freshman coming out of Texas, is he ready to kind of take over kind of what happened with Trevor Lawrence and Kelly Bryant years ago? So there's great storylines in the Atlantic. I think all 3 of those teams, Wake, NC State, Clemson, whatever combination you want to put them in, I think they're all top 15 teams in terms of the preseason. I do think Clemson will be in the top 10. And then I think even right underneath that, I think Florida State really improved in the second half of last year. I think Louisville feels great with Malik Cunningham and what they've got coming back. And Phil Jurkovec still the quarterback, and Zay Flowers is still the wide receiver. And I think BC and what Jeff Hafley are doing. So I really think the Atlantic Division will be one of the best divisions in all of college football. That race will be fascinating. Then I think, like I said on the other side, Miami and Pittsburgh should be the 2 best teams in the Coastal. It should be a really, really good year given the production that's coming back in the ACC.
So can this year for the ACC championship, can it be this year the year Florida State and Miami play each other for a second time in the championship game? Can that happen ever? Because I think that's what the league wants.
Well,
Florida State and Miami.
Well, it's funny, Chris, when they joined the league, right? When Miami joined the league back in 2004, and again, this was nearly 18 years ago.
Yeah.
All of us who were still hanging around talking to ACC and everything else, we all just assumed Bobby Bowden, Florida State, here comes Miami. To keep in mind, they are as great a football team as you'd ever want to see in the early part of the century. How many times are we going to see Florida State and Miami in the ACC championship game? Well, here we are getting ready to jump in 2022. We've never seen it. I mean, it just goes to show you, I say it all the time, the more you read, the more you study, the dumber you get on Saturdays trying to figure out college football. So we've never seen it. As a matter of fact, we've only seen Miami in the ACC championship game one time. And that's when Mark Richt got him off to a 10-0 start a few years ago, and then Clemson waxed him here in Charlotte. So are we ready to see him twice? I don't know if Mike Norvell's guys are ready to kind of bust through the Wake, NC State, Clemson, but I do like the direction they're going in. But it is amazing, and I said this on the air many times with Wes, what kind of odds could you have gotten back in 2004 when Miami joined the ACC? If you would have said, hey, listen, here's my hot take from 18 years ago. I think Miami is going to win the ACC in men's basketball before they win the ACC in football. You just said, dude, have you fallen down a flight of stairs? Are you out of your mind? What are you talking about? Sure enough, that's happened. So congrats to Jim Larinaga, but I do like the direction Miami's going with. I think Mario Cristobal's got a ton of momentum. It's going to be fun to watch the U go back and try to get back to glory days.
Let's talk Florida State real quick. Do you feel like if they play against LSU second week in New Orleans, and if they beat Brian Kelly, who's right now trying to be the governor of Louisiana, I feel like he's trying to go around town shaking hands, kissing babies, and all that stuff. Do you feel like if they beat LSU, you think Florida State's back as where they were, not when Jimbo Fisher was, but similar to that, that era?
I don't think that beating this LSU team, coming off the fact that they were sub 500 the last 2 years, I think Brian Kelly's a really good football coach. He will win a bunch of games in Baton Rouge. But I think that's kind of a work in progress too at LSU. And I used to work there 100 years ago. I know how passionate that fan base is. It's a Saturday night in Tiger Stadium is always fun. I know they're going to play New Orleans and not in Baton Rouge. It's a matchup of two programs that, quite frankly, need to be good. I mean, Florida State and LSU, when they're good, college football is better. So that is an intriguing matchup. And, of course, they'll return to favor next year. I just wish it was a home-and-home series that they're playing at Doak at Tiger Stadium, but that's not the case. But, beating LSU, if you're Florida State, would be a tremendous win. But does that dictate that, hey, we're back? No, I'm not going to say that. I think if Florida State can deal with Clemson, NC State, and Wake Forest, and you tell me they can win 2 out of 3 or maybe all of those, then they're back. I mean, LSU 3 years ago when Joe Burrow was back there tossing around, they won the national title. That's a different standard of LSU football than what they have right now. But it's a great game. It's good for college football.
Yeah. With all these new coaches in the ACC, you got Virginia Tech, Virginia, Bronco Mendenhall decided to say, I'm going back home to, I don't know, where did he go? Where did he win? Where did he go to? Some farm in Utah or something?
You know
He
what?
just left town.
Well, Bronco, to his credit, is a man of faith. And I think that his calling wasn't necessarily to be a college football coach. I mean, was he successful? Yes. Did he get paid a lot of money? Yes. But I think that he has bigger things in plan for his life and his calling, and that is to kind of get back to community, his faith, his religion. So he is a great dude to deal with, and wish him nothing but the best. And again, he was terrific for college football, but he'll move on. But here comes Tony Elliott, right? He comes in from Dabo's staff up to Charlottesville, and it's going to be kind of fun to watch him. He's got a lot of toys to play with. Brendan Armstrong's back. Man, Virginia's got so many weapons on the perimeter. So to watch Tony Elliott try to finagle that and come up with a new scheme and everything else, that'll be fun to watch. And Mike Elko's at Duke. You mentioned what's going on in some of these other coaching spots. Brent Pry's got a lot of pressure on him at Virginia Tech to try to turn that thing around. And the Hokies need to be good. I mean, we talk about the national narrative with ACC football all the time. Clemson has certainly been carrying the banner. But, we need Miami and Florida State and Virginia Tech, 3 teams particularly that have a great national brand to get back to playing big-time football. So, to me, that's going to be part of the storyline for the ACC moving forward, in addition to all these new coaches.
Yeah. So the next. All right, folks, that was Mark Packer. Part 1 of my conversation with him last Thursday evening. And is that true that Brian Kelly is trying to run for governor down in Louisiana?
I think so.
You're muted again.
And I gotta say this, Chris. I agree with what.
Okay, well, let's hear George's response. This is the Republican response.
Who? Chris froze up.
Brian Kelly. He's.
I was writing who as saying I don't believe you're mentioning his name. Who?
Oh, okay. Yeah. You're talking about Brian Kelly being, the face of
the name not to be mentioned.
He's the head coach of LSU.
The name not to be mentioned. Yes.
Gotcha. And I agree with what Mark Packer said. I think if Miami, Florida State, and Virginia Tech they need to have bounce back seasons, and be the face of the ACC again in football, because yeah, it's
Okay, I'm back. I guess what happened here this week, we had our delivery for our new mattress, and get this, it was part of the bonehead of the week. The guy ripped out our cable from our internet, hooked up to our house.
Wow.
That's such a Chris move.
So
you had one job.
I know you had one job, and we had video of it. And I'll let Nicole send it to you. It's like the guy backs up the box truck, and also you're. And first of all, the brakes are terrible. It's squeaking, and then he goes, and all you hear. And then all of a sudden Nicole goes, yeah, the ring just goes down, everything goes down. I'm like, that's nice. So anyway, I was saying before I got interrupted by this little squirrel here at the station, what is your take on Brian Kelly? Is he running for governor of Louisiana? I was waiting for your response.
Who?
The
name not to be mentioned?
I know, Mr. Like I'm with a southern drawl. Just like really, dude.
You know what? It's just all ridiculous. I'm trying to get people just to move past them.
Well, it's hard because the way what he did it, it was wrong. Yeah,
it was wrong, but it was that person's MO.
And he was going to do it years before that. People don't realize that he was going to do it. A couple of years ago, he was thinking about leaving from the NFL.
Well, when you have a chance to break Rockney's record, what better way to go out and do it is to go out and then just do something like that. So
right. I think you changed your whole career at Notre Dame. Now everybody's like, yeah, you know.
The team's in a better spot. So.
Oh yeah, I like the new coach, and I like what he did, and when he brought Al Golden and all those people. I think he'll be fine. He'll be fine. So anyway, we're waiting for Greg Blosser to join us at 8:05. I was going to tell folks if you just tuned in at 8:45. This guy used to play for the Baltimore Orioles, and here's his name is DanFord. They call him Disco DanFord. He played with the Twins, Angels, and Orioles, and this is he played with the Orioles back in 1983, and helped the Orioles win the World Series. The last time the Orioles won the World Series, right? Yep. Same thing with my guys. The last time we won it was '86.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but
Yeah.
you keep it.
They beat the
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, I know. I see. Okay. The Red Sox, if you look at underneath 1918, and after that, it was all gone. And then you guys won, like, what, 07, 04, 07, 08.
2014,
Yeah.
or 2004, 2007. Yeah. We
Yeah.
had this called, I remember 86. Trust me. The ball went through the legs of the first baseman, and we all know what happened.
Yeah, good old Bill Buckner. Did you realize?
Yeah, that's right,
that they
Chris.
brought him-
Yeah.
Adam, you realize they brought him back to Shea Stadium before they closed down Shea Stadium and gave him
Yeah.
Bill Buckner night?
Yeah. I know.
They gave him a friggin' standing ovation, and Buckner.
Yeah.
And Bill's like,
So
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this.
yeah.
The only reason why the Red Sox won the World Series in 2004,
Why?
because that was the first time I ever went up to Boston. I went up to Boston on a trip for work, and when they that was the year that they came back from behind, right? And beat
Yeah.
the
Yes,
Angels.
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
So-
The Kurt Schilling blood shot. The Kurt Schilling.
Bloody sock.
They had the blood.
No, I think that's 07. 07 was the bloody sock.
Yeah.
4 was they're down 3-1, and they came back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's when the whole big brouhaha was between Big Papi and what's his face there?
A-Rod?
No, bench coach
Oh, Don Zimmer.
Don Zimmer.
Yeah, and then KJ threw him on the ground.
Yep.
Yeah. That's right.
That's
right.
So that was the only reason why the Red Sox won that year, is because I actually stepped foot into Boston, and after that, I vowed never to go back to Boston again.
Oh, come on.
So you should have spread some of your love of your Yankees around, so you could like give them more curse.
Well,
Wait a minute now. It's like, I didn't go to sleep the night they won the World Series for the first time in 86 years. I don't think anyone went to sleep if you lived in the greater Boston area.
Yeah, you probably partied all night long.
I know I did.
Yeah, you probably got stinking drunk. Yeah.
I'm not going to jinx what's going on right now, but there's a team in the Bronx that's playing really good baseball right now. The season's still young.
Yes, George.
And the season's still young, and there's a team who you can hop on the 7th train and go across town to Citi Field. We're doing well too. So
yes, correct.
Someone's calling for a Subway Series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Renewal.
Yeah.
Part deux.
Part deux.
That's right. That's right.
I want to read that because I remember that Subway Series. I was like so excited, like Mets Yankees, and all of a sudden you guys take 4-1, and you won the damn pennant on my field, and I'm like, like my brother's
Major
like,
League
hey,
Baseball.
like,
Major League Baseball for that World Series, Chris.
Yeah.
Must have been like, really? Not only is it 2 East Coast teams, but it's 2 teams in the same state.
Wow.
I mean, what's the bonus? You're saving money on travel expenses.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to worry about flying for you have a day off. You just hop on a train, or you can just take your car across the.
I'm going to go to LaGuardia, and I'm going to get off the plane in Newark.
Yeah. And I'm on the Jersey tournament, Jersey transit. It's like, okay. Jeez.
Oh my goodness. So
Yeah.
this is supposed to be the spot for Blosser, right?
Yeah, I think he's. I texted him yesterday, and he said he's all good. So I'm like, okay, But I do have something in the hole because I knew this was going to happen.
Well, we should talk about it really quick, even though he's not coming on, Chris.
Yeah.
He was drafted in 1989, right?
Right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
His first major league season is 1993, right?
Right. Yeah. Briefly played for.
And in 1994, they go on strike.
That's right. That's right. The 94 strike. That's right, George.
They go on strike.
Yeah.
He only plays. I think he only plays 15 games in 1994.
Dude, his batting average, I didn't put it up there. It was 0.077. I'm sorry. I don't
That's horrible. Right. Chris, that's horrible. You get drafted in the amateur draft. You make it to the big league. Yeah. And then the next season they go on strike.
Right. And then then after the strike's over, you never get back to the major leagues because he played with the Red Sox minor league system. He was with the Orioles for 1 year, Rangers, and then he was gone for a couple years. And before he went to Japan, after he came back from Japan, the Giants signed him to his minor league system, and then he retired and went to independent baseball. Yeah, that's just, to me, it's like, and then he went to Japan, in '99. Yep. That's pretty cool. Playing Japanese baseball and see what the difference between American baseball and Japanese baseball. I know over in Japan, they care about the game and they respect the game and everything's all, you don't spit on the field. I saw Mr. Baseball in the movie. You don't spit on the field. You don't do any of that stuff. But that's what baseball should be here. But we don't do that. We spit seeds. We have base clearing bras. We have. Like the the Mets and Cardinals a couple weeks ago, that was just a dance. It wasn't a fight. It was just
at the tango.
The tango, like, hey man, you want to go to lunch today? Maybe after the game, you whooping the crap out of us, probably. Yeah. You want to pick up the bill? No. It's like, but but I feel bad for the guy because the only reason why he got called up to the major leagues, Greg did, because he hit 23 home runs in Pawtucket in 1992. And then he was invited to the spring training, and then he made the team. Later in the year, he came up later in the year. But to me, it's like, that's the only reason why you made to the spring, to the Red Sox, is because you had a great, 1992 season in Pawtucket, and they're not even there anymore. They're in Worcester.
That's right. That's called, they're now in Worcester.
Yeah, Worcester.
I can say, I do miss the Pawtucket Red Sox in McCoy Stadium. Mm-hmm. That was a great stadium and home to the longest minor league baseball game in history between the Rochester Red Wings and the Pawtucket Red Sox.
Yeah, that game was Cal was in there with Wade.
Yes,
Wallace.
Yeah, that's right, Chris. Yeah,
and the funny thing is,
26 innings.
Yeah, the funny thing is they had to do it in August after the game was I think it was in April. Yeah, and most of the players were called up to the major leagues, so they had people fill in holes where they had people. I think the Red Wings had a couple people up in major leagues, the Cows up there and all that stuff. So they had to play somebody else's position and all that stuff. It was really interesting. Yeah. So,
but it's just sad, Chris. You do all that work, and then you play in a total 22 big league games.
Yeah. And then you're successful in the Atlantic Division, Atlantic League, independent ball, and nobody picked you up. It's like what does it take for somebody to get an opportunity? Yeah. I feel like I know he's probably running late right now, but I'd like to ask him, do you ever thought about maybe one day to get back in, get back in Major League Baseball and say, hey, let me have one more shot at it,
I think he's probably successful in his new line of business.
Yeah.
I think I was reading he was doing some real estate, around in Florida and Japan. So I guess to make money over there. Yeah.
He's got his own. He's a private detective.
Ah. Nice.
And it's got to be true because it's on the internet.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thanks to the research department there, George.
Once again, coming through. That's why I get paid the big bucks.
We should make this the David Letterman show, like our research department and our home box office. Yeah. So anyway, I think he probably, I talked to him yesterday, so we'll give him a couple of minutes before we, put on, our interview I had with. I had to go over. I didn't really go overseas yesterday. I had a guy from London log into Zoom. His name is Richard Graves, who covers the NFL for London, and it's really cool. I learned a lot of cool stuff from him. How they celebrate the NFL draft. It's like 1 a.m. when Jacksonville had their pick, and he was in bed because he didn't stay up to 1 o'clock to watch that garbage. He got it later in the evening, but they had their pubs were pumping, at 1 o'clock in the morning watching that.
Did he fit you in his schedule?
Oh yeah, we did it. I did it at 1:30 my time. It was actually 7:30 his time, and he was on daylight savings too. So it was
you missed it,
Yeah.
Chris.
Actually,
I used his accent for schedule. They say schedule.
Schedules?
Schedule.
We have a tea at 4.
Yeah, we had tea time. No, but I did get invited to come over to watch a game over there. I looked at him like,
wow,
okay,
cool. That's
yeah,
pretty cool,
if I had the budget for it.
Yeah, ain't
Yeah.
cheap.
It's not cheap.
It's like a $5,000 one-way shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get over there, and the games are better. So what's with the meantime? Let's play that interview, part 1 of his interview, and we'll wait for Greg to join us. So if he joins, so here
having the
is
backup, Chris. Good call.
yes. So here's Richard and I talking yesterday afternoon, live from London. We're with Richard Graves. All right, good afternoon, everybody, here on Herb FM Radio here in Baltimore. We're making our first international phone call. This is free for us, folks, so we don't have to worry about it. So we're talking to Richard Graves, who covers everything over there across the pond there in England. So, Richard, thanks for joining us. Well, the reason we got you on the show here because the NFL put out the international schedule last week, and there's 3 games going to be in your country this year. Just want to talk about these 3 games. You got teams that you're going to see: Giants, Packers, Vikings, Saints, and I think you have the Broncos and Jaguars. So that's going to be very interesting. Those 3 games.
Yeah, well, first of all, Chris, thanks for reaching out and inviting me onto the show. It's great to be with you and talking about the NFL as it constantly expands its global reach. And for the UK in particular as well, it's great to have 3 games back on the schedule for the season, because obviously they were due to have 4, then the pandemic hit, so all got cancelled. Last year, it was a case of softly. We had 2 games at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. One between the Jets and Falcons, not very good, quite frankly. The other one between the Jags and Dolphins, we didn't hold out much hope for, but ended up being quite dramatic in the end as the Jags recorded their first win of the calendar year. This time around, 3 games, and there's some big teams as well. The standout team, obviously, the Green Bay Packers, 16 years in the making, trying to get that 32nd franchise over to the UK to play a regular season game over here. Finally, we get Aaron Rodgers and the Packers over to play here in London. That's certainly a game that's going to be very much looked forward to. And of course, they go up against the New York Giants, who played the very first game when we started this national series way back in 2007. Things, let me tell you, Chris, have changed a lot since then. If you cast your mind back, rain was teeming down. The field, quite frankly, wasn't fit to be playing an NFL game on great sods of turf coming up. And then we had the unreal sight of Eli Manning scrambling out of the pocket and into the end zone for a touchdown. So it was memorable for different reasons, shall we say. But the Giants-Packers is definitely the standout game. The Broncos back in town for the first time since 2010 to play the Jags, who amazingly have a good record when playing in the UK. You think how bad season on season they've been over the last decade. So, well, they're 4-4 in their 8 visits to the UK. So they certainly fancy playing in London. And of course, it all kicks off when we get the Minnesota Vikings playing the New Orleans Saints. Saints the designated home team for that one. But yeah, 3 games, 3 intriguing matchups, and certainly plenty of star power on show as well.
So out of all the 32 teams, which one is a popular team besides the Jaguars?
Which one is a what? Sorry.
Yeah, like all the people who, when they go to these Jaguars, the Jaguars are in town. Which one's the popular team in London? And everybody's like, okay, is it Jacksonville? Is it Tom Brady and the Bucks? Is it the Patriots who like to cheat? Who?
The Jags as an organization have invested a lot of time, effort, and money into the UK market, so they do have a strong fan base and a good following. But honestly, it's the traditional teams that really stand out. For example, I can remember when the Vikings and the Steelers met back in 2013. The terrific following for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Equally, when the Raiders are in town, the Black Hole follows them far and wide, coast to coast in the States and beyond when they're playing here in Europe. And the Cowboys, when they were in town in 2014, they were the designated traveling team playing the Jags. When they took to the field, you'd have thought they were the home team inside Wembley Stadium on that particular afternoon. So it'll come as no surprise that it's the storied franchises that are very well followed, and equally the New York Giants. They've got a good following as well. As I say, the first team to play over here when the NFL committed to playing regular season games. Osceola obviously won a Super Bowl or 2 with the New York Giants as well. So yeah, that's why when you look at these 3 matchups, they're teams that have got strong followings in the first place. Everybody in the UK is excited about hosting a regular season game where the Green Bay Packers are involved as well. And as I'm sure you'll understand out there in the States, Chris, there's just a sense that we're getting back to something that resembles normality, and itself, that's massive.
Yeah, it's somewhat normal, but not normal that we were back in 2019. You still have the situation that's still going on, that people testing positive here and there, and and things get rerouted and all that stuff. But this is just part of what life is going to be now. You just have to take it in as it is. All right, folks, welcome back to the program. As Richard Graves, we went over the big pond, everybody.
And he said schedule.
Schedule. So we'll have part 2 of that next week, because we were going to talk about how they did with the NFL draft, what they did during the draft and all that stuff. But let's bring in our next guest. A big lacrosse matchup if you're in the Newark, Delaware area tomorrow night. Robert Morris rolls in and takes on the Delaware Blue Hens, the CAA champs, in the first round of the NCAA lacrosse. Winner takes on Georgetown. That's what you get behind door number 1. That's basically what it is. So we got Coach BenDeluca here from the Blue Hens. Hi, Coach. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks. How are you guys?
Thank you so much for coming on tonight. I know you're a pretty busy guy getting ready. A Wednesday game, middle of the week, playoff game. That's kind of hard for you guys, because you found out Sunday night. What are you doing? And then you got to get prepped, ready to go for these last 2 days.
Yeah, very quick turnaround, but exciting for our players and our program to be able to host an NCAA playoff game in Delaware Stadium. So we're excited about it.
That's cool. Yeah, you guys. This is your second season there at Delaware, right?
Yeah, kind of our third, with the second being the conference playoffs and the tournament there that we were able to win, and now we're in the big dance.
That's cool. So how was you guys did a really good job this year. You won the CAA championship. You beat Townsend on a day that is a great day for ducks, not for lacrosse. It was a lot of rain, So how did you keep your players involved in the game with the pouring rain? Because I know in lacrosse it's just like football. You got to play in the rain no matter what. But it's like you guys probably had to sit there going, "Are we done yet? Can we go home?"
Yeah, well, we do kind of have to play through all 3 seasons. We start in the wintertime in February. We play through winter conditions and then spring conditions, and then it will warm up. Like tomorrow night, it'll be in the 70s, nice and warm. So, I credit our guys a great deal with the focus that they had to see the mission through. They played very well from start to finish. They executed the game plan. And we do talk a lot about, blocking out distractions and controlling what you can control. And the weather is not one of those things. And our guys did a really good job of keeping their focus throughout the game and earning themselves a great championship.
George, go ahead.
Well, Coach, you're on a nice little winning streak there at the end of the season. I know it's all zeros on the board once it comes time for tournament play. What do you say about the parity of lacrosse nowadays? Normally, you look at the teams across the board. People talk a lot about Duke and stuff. What can you say about the level of play in the NCAA?
Oh, it is a tremendous level of play, and I think there is a certain amount of parity that is spreading in our sport based on the participation at the high school level, based on great players and coaches spreading the game and coaching the game at lower levels nationwide. And so there's more young men and women that are playing the sport to begin with, and there's more and more qualified and experienced coaches who are coaching it the right way through youth and middle school and high school, which helps lead to a lot of options for college players.
Adam, you got something?
Yeah. First of all, Coach, congratulations on making the NCAA tournament. I know it's playing game tomorrow night against Robert Morris. So tell us about when you heard the news about you guys being selected. What was your first reaction?
Excitement, just extreme excitement to have the opportunity to continue our season, to keep this team together. And it was our goal from the beginning of the year. It's our goal every year to have a chance to compete for a national championship. So to hear your name called on Selection Sunday is a great honor. And there's many teams that don't hear their name called on Selection Sunday. There were some interesting results via the selection committee that I think reverberated throughout the lacrosse community. But the initial reaction and the reaction through tonight and through tomorrow is excitement. The ability to continue your season and continue to pursue your dream of competing for a national championship is pretty special.
Yeah, folks, we're here with men's lacrosse coach BenDeluca here. Coach, talk about Robert Morris. What do you see in short film? You got to get some film late Sunday night, and you did some prep yesterday, and you probably practiced today working on the offense. What do you guys see in their offense that might give you trouble tomorrow in a short week?
They're a very skilled group. They have a number of Canadians who can handle the ball in tight spaces really well and pass and shoot the ball really well. They get up and down the field. They like a high pace. Sort of an unsettled game and getting the ball up and down the field, causing some havoc and taking advantage of broken scenarios, early offense, transition, unsettled. And, those are things that they have done really well to achieve the success that they've achieved. And it helped them in their conference tournament, ultimately securing the ASUN championship.
Yeah. George, you got anything?
All I'm going to say is, Coach, good luck. It's always great to be on the journey and playing some extra games, and just keep up that great attitude that you got, and you guys will go far.
Thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate it.
All right, Coach. Well, good luck, and it's great to be a Blue Hen, and keep up the good work.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much. Go Hens.
Bye.
Yes, sir.
All right, folks. That's Coach BenDeluca there for the Blue Hens of Delaware. It's been a great spring for the Blue Hens. They made the NCAA tournament they had to play Villanova. That was not a great way of doing their first NCAA tournament in a while. But it seems like everything's going up positive there up in Delaware, knowing that they're now the school that's going to run the CAA along with Towson, because JMU is off to the Sun Belt. So pretty interesting stuff. So this gentleman actually covered that Delaware game. This guy is a very good friend of the program. You might see him on maybe Sunday if Rob Stone is not doing a soccer match, on Fox Sports, doing the PBA playoff final between our good friend KyleTroup. We want to wish him the best. I know he's dealing with some personal issues tonight, so wish Kyle the best. And Tommy Jones, who is a PBA Hall of Famer and doing a great job this year, being one of those old school bowlers, just like Norm Duke, coming back out of it seems like the old ones are just coming back out of the woodwork. Now we just got to get my friend Tim Chris to come back out of the The woodwork.
Good luck with that
Yeah,
one.
no,
I think
he's enjoying his daughter's playing a lot of
Yeah,
softball.
he's
So
all done with that one.
yeah, so let's bring in DaveRyan. Hi, Dave. How
Hey,
you doing?
guys. How's it going?
Love
How's it going
the
tonight?
backdrop. Did you just do that for us? Because
How's
I
everybody?
appreciate it.
Just working on it. Added the CBS Sports recently. Got the Walter Williams Jr. going, NHL. But I just keep adding a lot of these press passes. So NCAA Bowling Championships. We got Patriot League Lacrosse, which just happened last weekend in Boston. So soon I think the jerseys are going to be obscured by all the press passes. But
Yeah.
that's good because then I'm doing games and I can pay my mortgage. So it's all good.
And you turn around going, hey, I got paid. So how you been, sir? I know you've been pretty busy. I saw you were on the Fox broadcast the last couple playoffs with Kyle and Tommy. So how's everything going?
Everything's good. Rob is going to be back on for the finals, just
Okay.
To clarify.
We want Dave.
But I started the
Dave.
WBA, the women's tour, coming up this weekend in Rockford. So looking forward to that.
That's cool.
That's
Is
going to be fun.
you and Kelly doing it?
Well, Kelly, I'm not sure if Kelly's going to make. That's a good question. I don't know exactly. I don't know.
Okay.
We did the collegiate championships, and we had Sydney Brummett, and we had Julia Bond.
Oh, okay.
Do the analysis work, and that was their first time out, and they were just awesome. So we'll see what the plan is for the season coming up. It all depends, of course, who makes the show.
Right.
If they're going to be anywhere near the show, here's our dog Waffles. I don't know if you can see Waffles here.
Nice.
Here's Waffles. You got to say hi.
Oh, we got
Golden Doodle. There she is.
we have pets on this show, Dave.
You see?
How cute.
George,
She's our
wacky.
wacky. She's our
Come on,
wacky.
you gotta get the dog. Yeah.
Wacky.
Yeah, we have cats rolling around this place somewhere.
Yeah, we got a bunch of cats too, Chris. They're all over the place. But yes, those guys did an awesome job in their debut, doing the 4 collegiate shows. By the way, the Wisconsin Whitewater rally to beat Wichita State was like, in all seriousness, of 32 years in the air, I'm not going to say it because I know you're a bowling guy and we're talking bowling tonight. It was one of the most thrilling shows I've ever called. Like, it was one of the coolest events that I've ever been a part of. It was at Stardust Bowl. It was in Addison, where we're going to be back for the PWBA tour for the Queens coming up here in, I guess, what is that, 10 days or so, 14 days. And it was 2-zip Wichita State, the longtime powerhouse. Whitewater never won a title. And Whitewater had so many fans that it was packed. Wow. And then you had Wichita State's legendary alums. Parker Bone III was there because his son is on the team. Chris Barnes was there because his son is on the team. Doug Kent was there because he's representing the Bone family. Leslie and Chrissy were there. This royalty of bowling was there to root on Wichita State. And little Wisconsin Whitewater rallies, excuse me, wins 3 straight games to win the championship. It was awesome.
Wow. Yeah, we're in Mount St. Mary's, not St. Mary's. The Mount, the women's bowling team is pretty good too, and they just started that program 5 years ago. And I want to give the coach credit. He's doing a great job recruiting and bringing people to a little town called Edensburg, Maryland. And there's literally nothing there except for a gas station and a donut shop.
Yeah.
I was like,
I'm sure it's great. Never been there. One of my goals is to see every college town I possibly can. So when I get to a new campus like this far into my career, I'm kind of pumped just to see a new place and call. I've never been to BU. I've been to Boston 100 times until this past weekend, and did the BU Army championship game in the semifinals, 2 semifinal games Friday of Patriot League Lacrosse, and it was awesome. BU had never hosted. They'd never been to the big dance, and they won it. I see a Red Sox sign back there. I got to see the Sox game on Saturday.
Yeah.
There's a Fenway Pack.
Yes, Dave. Love the accent.
40 degrees.
Love the accent.
It was 40 degrees.
Oh my God.
Oh gosh.
It feels like 40.
Boy.
So I had the thickest. I had this hat. I had gloves. And I live in Florida, so I packed it because I saw the weather. I packed it for the games, thinking it was going to be an open air booth, which it was. But it was just one little small window open so we can see the game well. But the coldest I've been in my life in a long time was at Fenway on Saturday. I mean, it was freezing.
Wow.
And of course, the Red Sox, who were in last place, lost the White Sox in extras. But we did stay 8 innings. The producer, Joel, and I made 8 innings, which I thought was exceptional.
Yeah. I can't leave a Met game without my – one time I left the Met game, my grandmother was alive at the time, and she's a big Met fan, and I left the ballpark, when the Orioles and Mets, and I go, "Hi, Grandma, I'm home." She goes, "Did you leave the game early?" I'm like, yeah, because we had a good parking. She cursed me out.
Yeah.
So the
It's
new
too cold.
rule. So the rule
I
is
grew
now.
up the same way, Chris. Like my dad, when I was a kid, that's how I got my love of sports from him. I never would have left a game early. That was not an option
Mm-hmm.
for my father ever. But it was
now
so cold.
the
Like,
game's
even
on.
he would have been like, "Okay, we're leaving." I mean, it was just like it was whipping wind around Fenway. But I'll tell you, every seat was taken. It was packed.
Wow,
it's amazing. Those fans are unbelievable. So.
That's cool. So talk about lacrosse. We just had Delaware on a couple minutes ago. They're playing Robert Morris tomorrow night at in the first round action. What is your take on no Notre Dame, no Duke, no Syracuse, no Denver,
Sadly, no Syracuse.
Nobody.
See my Syracuse stuff back here. It's kind of buried now with all those stuff.
George just logs off.
It's Chris. It's one team and one team only.
Yeah.
Maryland.
Right.
Maryland by miles, Chris, by miles. But hey, I'll be in East Hartford for the radio Final Four again this year for Westwood One, which is awesome. Love it. I've done that radio since 2011, and then did TV for ESPN for 6 before that. It was great. Mm-hmm. So it's a cool event, man. I mean, and look, you never know. Maybe there'll be an upset. But I watched three Maryland games and against good Big Ten teams, and they absolutely destroyed them in the first quarter. And the game's over as soon as it starts. I just don't think that. I don't think their defense and goaltending is superlative, but their offense is unbelievable. One of the best I've seen in a long. I've covered lacrosse a long time. It's one of the best offenses I've seen in a while. So we'll see.
Yep. Hey George, you got something for Dave?
I heard you going. You said you're going up to where in East what?
East Hartford for the lacrosse championship. That's at the end of the month.
So you get to head over to Rensselaer Field, which is my old stomping grounds. I used to live in Wethersfield. It was the best commute ever. Go to UConn football home games. I'm home in 15 minutes. Life was great.
I know. And we did a lot of UConn games when CBS Sportsnet had the American Conference contract when UConn was in the American Conference for football, which they're not anymore. We have done their home games the last couple of years post-COVID. So I sure hope UConn can be more competitive on the football field. It's a nice little niche up there, as you know, being from Connecticut. When Bob Diaco first got that job, they were a bowl level team, and then after he got fired, it's been nothing but an absolute disaster. Sad.
They went back to an old sin, and they went back to Randy Etzel, and you got rid of him the first time. It's like an ex-girlfriend. You never go back for seconds. It's nothing but trouble.
Well, it didn't work out. It's very rare, and maybe Rutgers will be a different situation with Greg Schiano, but it is very rare in college football that a coach goes back where he started or back where he was head coach and has success. It's very unusual. And in this case, UConn, unfortunately, at that point of the development of the program, just did not have the facilities or the recruiting to compete in the American, which was at that time. Now it's been, three schools went to the Big 12, and then the American took half Conference USA, and then the Sun Belt. I heard you talking about the Sun Belt earlier. Yeah. With JMU. I mean, Sun Belt took several teams from Conference USA, so it's all like a jumble. But man, I think UConn could be good. I really do. They could be a Boston College, a Pitt, a Syracuse, a bowl level team every year, but they've got a ways to go for sure.
But the problem was, they had that run there. Being a season ticket holder when I lived there in Connecticut, first of all, your stadium is not even on campus. It's a good hour away. And who wants to go to a university where you're not going out and hanging out on your campus on game day? You're packing up, you're getting an oil change and bringing a lunch to go to a home football game.
Yeah, I agree. 100 years ago when I went to Syracuse, we rolled out of our dorm just before kickoff and just walked from the dorm to and yes, I'm going to call it the Carrier Dome because it always will be the Carrier Dome to me. I know the naming rights recently changed, but not for this old Syracuse guy. Never. Yeah, agreed about the UConn situation, and there are we covered USF too when we had the American Conference contract. Similar deal, where Raymond James Stadium where the Buccaneers and USF play is 30 minutes from their campus. So yeah, they set up buses for the kids to go from campus to the game, but it's not the same as being able to walk. It's not.
But, you know, I think there is a good chance for them to be a bowl team with the right leadership.
Exactly. They got Moore. They got Jim Moore's son, you know, so he could hopefully, you know, do it. You know, he did well in UCLA until he got ran out of town.
You need someone who's got vision. You need someone who's got vision. So, you know, hopefully they're going to point the right way, and we'll see in the fall. But that program took a massive fall. I mean, they fell off a cliff, sadly.
They did.
Well, here's a question from Adam, the mayor of Portland, Maine.
Yeah, actually, Chris, I actually met Dave last year in Portland, Maine, in the PBA League. I'm assuming you remember that.
I remember.
All right. So I got to ask you, in honor of the PBA Tour, what's it like to work with Randy Peterson and Kimberly Pressler when you are the play-by-play guy for all the PBA Tour telecasts?
Nothing like it. Randy and I, as you know, you guys know from watching bowling, we go way back. I've known Randy. So this is actually the 20th year that we have done shows together. So it goes back to 2002 with RP, and he's as fun and entertaining and interesting a guy as you could ever imagine. He's so smart and understands the game so well. Truly a passion for understanding and for putting on the best possible television. And the energy levels are unprecedented and unmatched, and so is his knowledge. So he's a treat to be around, and always so much fun. And one of the best parts of those gigs for me, depending on the schedule when we get in and when we're on the air, is that just have dinner and hang out and go over old times because we've known each other so long. So it's great. And then Kimberly's just amazing. I mean, she's the hardest working reporter I've ever been around. I've been around a lot. I was a reporter myself for a long time at ESPN, and she gets great stories, does really good interviews, is really focused and knowledgeable, and just a treat to be around. Really great person.
Steve, you got a question for Dave?
Yeah. Hey, Dave. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
As a fellow bowler myself, in all the years of you doing PBA, what would you have to say is probably your greatest match that you've ever commentated?
Oh. The best game I've called, not bowling, the best game. And there are a few like championship games that are up there. Ooh, that's a good one. I mean, the 300 games are unforgettable. I'm just trying to think if it's this stint or last stint. I'll be honest with you. I think last year, the King of the Lanes last year with Parker and his run up in Portland. We were talking about Portland, Maine. That was, and I just saw him recently in Chicago at Addison at the ITC championships because his son is on the Wichita State team. I mean, that was last year was like a combination of a blast from the past and then today's great bowlers because they had so many amazing players at the same time. And to have a Hall of Famer like that, who is still very active and successful in the PBA 50 Tour, just do so well for 2 nights. In addition to the place that Portland was just rocking. I mean, it was like being at a Duke basketball game at Cameron Indoor, or the Carrier Dome for a big game in the old Big East days of Georgetown. Just full to the rafters and just so loud with every shot. That was absolutely amazing. Gosh, I mean, being part of Belmo's run, the World Championship, I think in Vegas, as the world was shutting down in 2020, was certainly unforgettable. That was the first time I'd ever done an event where no fans were allowed. Mm-hmm. And I remember walking into the arena in Vegas, and there were signs everywhere and yellow tape everywhere. It was like something like a crime scene out of a Hollywood movie. No fans allowed. No one was there to say anything, yes or no, to go in. But no fans. So, and then it's so ironic, I guess, that Belmo's family was there, and they're always in Australia, of course, because that's where Kimberly and the kids live. And they were talking about their flights and things were changing, and I mean, it was kind of dicey. I was even going to go because we were so uncertain about COVID as it just exploded at that point of our lives. And I remember getting out there and no one had masks yet. And being so close to Norm Duke and Randy, we were physically very close. And then, TV gave us all social distancing for a long time. And now we're kind of back in the same neighborhood as we used to be. That whole experience to me was unforgettable. I'm just trying to think back to my first stint. That was a long time ago. It ended in 2006. But some of Pete Weber's big wins for sure. Majors for Pete were unforgettable.
One of the
Normie's
most
big wins were
charismatic
unforgettable. I
bowlers
mean,
out
yeah,
there
just
before,
I think to answer your question, it took 5 minutes, but the majors, the big wins, the history-making wins that change people's lives. You know, that's life-changing money and fame and part of a history that will be with you forever when you get to call major. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I have one other thing. As much as I watch bowling, there's one of the bowlers I haven't seen in a while since before the whole COVID thing broke out and put everything on hold. What's Jesper Svensson up to these days? I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, we had him at the PBA playoffs. So we did those shows, you know, a couple weeks ago, and they keep airing on FS1 up until the last 2 weeks were live. So he had done quite well. I mean, he was bowling and doing fine. I mean, he, like the other European bowlers, Dom Barrett, and of course Belmo, you know, these guys have got to come over. I think it was January they landed in the U.S. And then this was mid-April at this point. We did those shows. They hadn't been home since. So, you know, Jesper's not married, doesn't have kids back home, but Dom does. And obviously Belmo does. And I just think those guys have such a huge struggle to have to be, you know, imagine being in a foreign country, all of us here on this interview for 4 months, and you're not near your family, hotel or Airbnb with buddies, whatever it might be. So, but he was doing fine. I mean, he and KyleTroup, as you guys probably know, are very, very good friends, and they went from Vegas at the USBC Masters. They drove together. I think it was something like, I don't know how many hours it was. It was insane. It was insane amount of miles and hours they put in. And I think Jesper drove like a couple hours and Kyle drove the rest, but they're like brothers, you know, so they listened to music and had a good time. And they met Tommy Jones and played golf with Tommy and then drove down to Lake Wales for the PBA playoffs. So the last we spoke with Jesper, he's doing great. He's the same. You know, it's funny, like I know Kyle's in the final coming up with Tommy Jones in the PBA playoffs. Like, it's hard to imagine these guys haven't won. You know, the three guys we just mentioned have not won on tour this year. So it's been an interesting season. If you told me before the year, KyleTroup, the reigning player of the year, would have 0 victories. Tommy Jones, the Hall of Famer, would have 0 victories. Jesper would have 0 victories. I'd say, boy, you're crazy. There's no way it's going to play out that way.
Yeah.
It's been a weird season. It's been a weird season.
Hopefully he'll be back in Portland, Maine for the PBA League in July. I don't know if you're going to be there or Ralph Stone's going to be there.
Fingers crossed. I hope so.
All right. I'll be there, Dave. So I'll be looking for you.
Look forward to it.
Fucker.
Hey, I'm telling you, it's my new favorite hometown. Like,
all right, we'll put in a call for you, Adam, to make sure you're not allowed in the building.
Hey, wait a minute.
Dave's gonna go. He's gonna file paperwork against you.
Oh, wait a minute. You're on my side, right, Dave?
Right.
Well, Dave.
Thank you.
No, I did. I mean, it's great because we're doing night shows. You have the day. I mean, I've got some golf in, some hiking, some kayaking. Like, Portland is beautiful.
Yes, it is.
The state of Maine is beautiful. I hadn't been there for like,
nice.
I want to say it's probably like 35 years until last summer. And I just loved it. It was a great time.
That's cool. Well, Dave, enjoy your week. I know you have lacrosse games, you got bowling, you got everything going on. And, stay true to your sport. Make sure you get everything ready to go. And thanks for coming on. And we got Disco DanFord coming on in 2 minutes.
You say DanFord?
Yeah, DanFord.
Oh, fantastic. Tell him I said hi. He's obviously one of my favorite friends and great broadcaster and fellow Syracuse alum and now become a Cincinnati legend. So tell him I said hello, please.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Oh, well. All right, man.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Take it easy.
Take care, guys.
Yes, sir.
See you in Portland.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right.
Fucker.
All right. Yeah, I don't think he knew DanFord was, but okay, we'll just give him a mulligan.
Yeah.
Stalker.
Yeah, shocker. So
No, stalker. I don't know. Stalker.
It's called, if you can see this, there's a picture of
hey, there's walls for that,
from last year in Portland, Maine. So Dave is on my side.
I know. We're just playing.
I know.
Well, thanks for joining us here at 8:45. We got a former major leaguer, who played for the
Twins, the Angels, and the Orioles.
The Twins, Angels, and Orioles, and He won the World Series with the Baltimore Orioles in 1983. We have Disco DanFord on the show. Dan, thanks for joining us. Welcome to the program. How are you doing this evening, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on and talk about your career in baseball. I was doing some research yesterday and today. You were drafted by the Oakland Athletics and you got traded to the Minnesota Twins. What was it like getting traded the first time around?
Well, being with Oakland at that time, they had just won 3 World Series in a row. And I was a number 1 draft back in 70, and I'm just, standing waiting my turn. And I really wanted to play for that team, but that's when Reggie Jackson was there, Billy North, Joe Rudy, Catfish Hunter. I mean, they really had a good ball club. And Charlie Finley was an owner that, he liked good players, and that's pretty much why they was winning. So when I got traded to Minnesota, it was a big disappointment because that year before that, I had just moved from Los Angeles to the Oakland area. My wife had an uncle there, and we were talking about doing some business stuff, so that's what he did. And then that same winter, actually, I was there about 3 months up in the Oakland area, and then I got traded to the Oakland. I said, so what do you do now? And so I realized that I was going to a club that I didn't know very much about. And being a West Coast guy, Minnesota was a team I heard just about maybe through a couple players, Herman Killebrew and Tony Oliva was the one that I really knew. Like Rockaroo had just won that title, but he wasn't a big name to me. But going to Minnesota, that was an experience. And, that's the way I made it to the big league, and through that club, and and them giving me that opportunity to play, and so therefore that was a plus.
Yeah, that's true. And it was also I was watching a video you had on YouTube. You had to bring out the map with your father to try to figure out where Minnesota was, right? Because you never been west, you never been to the other part of the states, right?
I've never been as far north as maybe Oklahoma, and as far east as Louisiana. So that's pretty much where my people was from, and we traveled and a few summers going to visit people, but no further than that I had ever been. And so going to Minnesota was an experience, and I tell you, I learned what winter really was there.
You're like, wow, this place is cold. Can I go back home?
Yeah, my dad told me that's cold, son. You gotta get ready for that. It took me a little while, I guess, to really adjust to that too. That beginning of the season was cold. It wasn't a very real nice stadium. With Mario, the football team played on that field in that same place, and so the field wasn't always kept really good, and had cyclone fence from, I guess, right center on around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I played that field my first year there. I think that's it was, a place that you wouldn't want to do out again.
Yeah. So, George, you got something for Dan?
Absolutely. Dan, thanks for coming on.
Great. Thank you.
2 things. You hit your first home run at Yankee Stadium on April 15th, 1976. And then you didn't make life easy when they were trying to trade you. You actually gave them some difficulties because the Orioles were not on the list of teams that were in your contract to be traded to.
That's correct. That was correct. When the Orioles called me, well, not the Orioles called me, but the Angels called me and said, well, we just trade you. And I said, trade me? I said, to who? He said, to Baltimore. I said, oh, no, that's a mistake.
Oh, no.
That's not on my contract there. That's not in my agreement. And then they looked at it and said, yeah, it is true. So, but the Orioles want to talk to you. So the Orioles called me, and we really want you. We really think we can win with you. We really, 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 really. And I said, well, I'm running to end up one of my contract with the Angels, and can we do some negotiations? well, one of the things that they promised me that didn't come through too, and I agreed to make the trade to Baltimore. And my first year, I tell you, it was not a very good one. But I don't know what was really the issue, but it was a big adjustment for me. Plus, I was thinking that I was going to get a new contract, and I didn't.
Yeah. But they really wanted you. They tried to get you before you were traded to the Angels, right?
No, I was with the Angels and went to the Orioles.
No, they tried to pick you up before you went to the Angels.
Like with Minnesota, right?
Right.
I don't remember that.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Yeah,
okay.
I'm not sure of that. I don't remember that.
Okay. Yeah, we were doing a research, and I saw that on one of the pages on the Wikipedia, and they're saying like, okay, well, let's see if it's true or not, because I don't know that stuff. Sometimes people just make up stuff, like. Yeah.
Hey, if it's on the internet, it's not always true, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I always tell people, I said, Earl Weaver was the manager in '82, and he retired in '83. I was the last guy that he ever traded for.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And I said, you know that? Oh man. I said, now that's a privilege. That's a really that's saying something. Strictly because of Earl Weaver. And the reason that was, like you said, they said, well, we really wanted you over here, and it was because of Earl Weaver. So
nice.
We didn't win in '82, and I didn't have a good year. I said, man, I let you down. He said, well, I stuck with you as long as I could. And I said, man, I'm sorry. And right at the end of the year, we lost by that one game. And I tell you, I probably felt bad, worse than anybody.
Right.
Because of that. I didn't have a good year. And then Earl Weaver that next year, he retired.
And then Dan, in 1983, you guys won it all. You guys had an explosive, good pitching staff. You had Palmer, who basically wasn't really the Jim Palmer that you knew back in the 70s. He was in his, he's going to retire in 1984. You had Mike Flanagan. You had Scott McGregor. You had, Steve. Was Steve Stone on the team still, or did he go?
He was gone. Yeah.
He was gone. Okay. But, it's still, it was a great pitching staff. And plus, you had a great offense. You had some guy named Cal playing shortstop, and he was just coming up as a rookie. And
they put him someplace. Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Just teasing.
Yeah.
But that was '83 was a really good year for everybody. I know mainly myself, because that was a year that I completely turned around, and I helped with the winning of the World Series, and I got a ring to show it. So and right at the end of that season too, I saw Earl Weaver after the World Series, and we shook hands, and he said, "I knew you. You did. Way to go."
Nice. That's
that
cool.
was the reason that we got you here. Yeah.
Right. Hey, Adam, you got a question?
What was it like to play with Cal Ripken Jr. as a rookie back in the day with the Orioles?
You couldn't tell he was a rookie because he was so baseball aware. I mean, he grew up in baseball, and his dad was the coach. So when he came up to the big leagues there, and they said he's going to play third base, and I said, well, okay, if that's who they're replacing Douglas Fisley with, okay, let's so be it. And he had a good year. I mean, he was probably more mature than he would probably thought a young guy like that, coming up, and I guess being around baseball, that really had his advantage.
Yeah. Well, Dan, I want to say congratulations on being. Thanks for being your service in the military. You were in the Army, right? So, what was it like being in the Army back in? I know you guys had to go to Vietnam, but did you get a chance to go to Vietnam, or were you Are you just around here?
Yeah, I was here in State. Yeah, I didn't go to Vietnam. And then I did a regular Army at first, and then I got out and I did 6 years of Army Reserve. So it was a experience. I guess some people say, well, you didn't have to go. I said, yeah, I think I did. I think it was something that, I don't know, being part of this country in America in some way or another to say, I believe in what most Americans believe in, and I will do what I can
Well, Dan, I have one last question to ask you. You and I talked this afternoon on the telephone. How did you get that nickname? You got to tell the folks the story you told me. Because I think it was a great story you told me, on the phone this afternoon. How did you become Disco Dan? Yeah, did you? You got to be, because I thought when I first saw the nickname, I was like, all right, he must be dancing in a bar, or he probably started to have his own disco line or something like that. How did you get the nickname? And tell the folks the story you told me this afternoon.
Well, it wasn't because of your first choice, dancing in a bar,
Right.
Yeah, I had some friends that owned the bar or ran the bar, and and I go there from time to time, and they started a fan club out of the bar, and pretty much, it was a disco at that time back in the early '70s, and they just called me Disco Dan, and they started the fan club officially through the front office of the Twins, and then it went, national.
Wow.
Yeah. I used to have a section out there in right field, it's all the T-shirts, Disco Dan, and I thought that was a cool thing, but like you said, the question come up, man, you be out there partying and dancing or whatever, because I can't dance. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Wow. Well, Dan, thanks so much for coming on. I know you're a busy guy with, you're on the farm with horses and all that stuff. That's what you do now. And congratulations on the new career. And I know you said when I talked to you today, you're training people there on the farm. What do you got? Real quick, what do you do on your farm?
What we do is, I got a place called the Horseman Camp. If it ain't broke, I can't fix it. So it's a horsemanship with the rider, and I guess horsemanship with the horse too. I do the beginning stage of I guess, groundbreaking horses, and it pretty much teach them the basics and for people to ride and get going on trails and things of that nature. And I evaluate horses too. We rent horses, sometimes go trail rides, and board them and things of that nature.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool stuff. Well, Dan, thanks for coming on. Thanks for being a part of the show. We're glad we connected this afternoon. And don't be a stranger. We'd love to have you back on.
I'm planning on coming that way sometime next month or the early part of July.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll try to get you on. If you're in the area, we'll meet up or something. We'll, Steve and I live in the Baltimore area, so we'll try to find you and we'll get to know you.
I got your number, and I'll call you and let you know. Maybe it'll take me to get some crabs.
All right, Dan. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of your week.
Okay, Dan. Thank you. All right.
All right. Thank you, Dan.
See ya. Bye.
Good day. All right. Bye-bye.
We could start a podcast on the road with people that we meet on our show, because I feel like people just want to get to know us. It's like. Yeah, it's like I think one time Ewan wanted to meet somebody for beers. I'm like, really? It's like, okay, like we don't drink.
That's always something Ewan wants to do.
Yeah, well, I hope he's doing okay, folks. He's our former, part of our show. He had in a car accident. It's a serious car accident, so hopefully he gets himself back to normal, and we'll see how he does, the rest of the year. But our prayers go out to him and make sure he's okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's sad that after your life could be that quick if somebody can't drive a car. Yeah.
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
Oh, you had the same situation? I had the same situation years ago. Yeah.
Well, I won't go into the details.
Yeah.
I should have probably died.
Wow.
Hey, I think the Lord probably had something for both of us and say, hey, you're not going yet.
Oh,
He's like, nope, you got to meet Chris.
Hey, I'm sorry, but we first met down at the Cotton Bowl. I didn't know who the heck you were, and secondly, I took your stuff. I love it. I love it. Well, George, you have to roll out, right? You got something to do with the family.
I do.
I appreciate you making some time tonight for us. We always love having you on. So,
absolutely.
So we'll be on next Tuesday, same time. We'll try to get Kyle on, see if Kyle wins the college, the PBA playoff. I was going to say the college football playoff. It could be the college football playoff, like Mike Leach thinks with the Kentucky Derby.
Why not?
Like put down the beverage and walk away there, Mike. Yeah. You know?
By the way, do you like the new studio lights?
Yeah, I like it.
Nice, George. Nice. Cool,
Nice.
man.
Nice. Hey, you
Nice,
put it
man.
on the other time on Facebook. Did you like that? You got an idea?
Dude, LED lights, man, remote controlled.
There you
Nice.
go. There you go.
That's awesome.
Can you make them do different colors?
Yes, as a matter of fact.
You have no. You don't have Notre Dame blue, do you, George?
That's what's on. That's what's on in the background.
All right, nice, man. Now you need is Notre Dame green.
Yeah. Well, George, thanks for coming on. We'll talk later this week.
Absolutely.
And have a great rest of your evening.
Hey, thanks for having me on, buddy.
No problem. No problem.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
let me know when your shows are. I'd like to come on again. I enjoyed talking.
Absolutely.
So let me know.
Okay, buddy.
All right, buddy. Thanks, dude.
Easy, guys.
Hey, George.
Yeah.
See you, George.
All right. That's George Bashir, our good friend, from Shakedown Thunder, joining us. It's 9:00. It's time for some college baseball, some local baseball. This gentleman we had on, we did a broadcast a couple of years ago with this guy, with his Coppin State Eagles, Coach SHERMANREED joining us. Hey, Coach, how are you doing?
Hanging in there, man.
You're a busy guy.
Feeling the pressure, man. Feeling the pressure.
I know you had it. You're coming off the with Disco DanFord was on before you. You're like,
I was gonna say, man, Disco DanFord. When I saw that lineup, I said, man, that's the name of the past. Oh, Danny.
yeah, I've been trying to grab some old baseball players, on my show the last couple months ago. I think it's cool to talk to people who you don't see much and get to know them, and I'm learning different things. We had this guy, Greg Pryor, on, and he was a load of sunshine. I just want to say, and in a nice way. And he calls me before the show, and he goes, "So is this your job?" I go, "Well, I work at a different job during the daytime." His voice went from like, "Oh my God," to like that. And then like the whole show, he was like, I thought we were on QBC. He was like selling his book, his pill line, and like it was like the worst 10 minutes we ever had. It was like I didn't want to cut the guy off. So I didn't know what to do because it's the first time I ever had somebody who was like salty. I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do here? I don't want to be like rude and like pull the plug. I'm not Sparky Anderson. Can't pull this.
Chris, you take chances, man. You never know.
Yeah. So after the show was over, I had to cut that out because I'm like, okay, this is a family programming, and I don't want to have people asking me why I have a weirdo selling books and pills. It's like, so. Anyway, so that's why we're trying to do that. So you guys are on the road this weekend. A big, I guess you're going to stay in Norfolk for a while because you got the tournament next week, right?
Yeah, that's right. I was going to say the turnaround. We still will make it back for a couple guys. Got some finals, but we're going to be turning right back around 48 hours to head back to Norfolk, and it is a big series. I know back in 2018 when we won the regular season. We clinched it down in Norfolk, and Norfolk has been a difficult place to play, and they've been a very successful program. And looks like if we're gonna hold on, we've been in first from opening weekend till now week 9,
Nice.
And all of the procrastinators, the Baseball American and Collegiate Baseball Daily and D1 Baseball, all in their projections for the 64 bracket. Has had us weekly in there representing the MEAC and the NCAA regionals. Now we got to do our part now.
Yeah. I hope you do make it to regionals because I think I might have some vacation time and I might want to go see something, go out there and cover the games for you.
Well, we got to win. We kind of hurt ourselves with poor play this past weekend. We really came close to clinching it this past weekend, but with all the rain this past weekend, it was tough to get 2 games in. We got 2 of the 4 in. Didn't play well in that double hitter, and now it's put us in a position where we need to take care of business this final weekend.
Yeah, you got a lot of problems last week with the weather. You're supposed to play Towson, who you went to school at Towson. That was going to be fun for you guys to bring your team over to that beautiful field they have there. But the rain kind of postponed that last Wednesday, and then we had a weekend of it was good for Ducks last weekend with all the rain.
Yeah, we were disappointed with the Towson game. I always look forward to getting back there at Towson. We played really well there, and we're on a winning streak there. So it was pretty disappointing when we got the word that it was okay during the Wednesday afternoon, but evidently the top somehow wasn't put down, should have been put down, and they got a ton of rain in there. We just had to bang the game. But yeah, we look forward to. I look forward to myself going back and playing at home there at Towson.
Yeah, because you played baseball at Towson in your college days, right?
Yeah, man. I was fortunate. My first year there, we went from NAIA. It was our first year at Division I, and the biggest thrill was we had Billy Hunter, who had resigned in a contract dispute with the Texas Rangers after being a longtime Oriole third base coach. So it was a thrill being a freshman and showing up there and looking at the legend himself. He took the job at Towson my first year there at Towson, Coach Hunter.
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. What was it like playing for a legend like that? You must have been like this. Like, wow.
He was pretty mild mannered. I mean, he got his point across in a calm fashion. He didn't raise his voice often. Coach Hunter never had to raise his voice, but he got his point across to us. I can tell you that.
Nice. Hey, Adam, you got something?
Yeah, I was looking at your schedule, and how do you prepare for a 4-game series, to end the year versus a normal 3-game series that you normally see in college baseball?
Yeah, the 4-game series has been a bit much. When we planned for the 4-game series this year, it was because no one knew what COVID was going to bring the 22 spring season. So we loaded up on conference games because outside of the conference, a lot of schools were quick to cancel games due to contact tracing. So we figured that we would just go with a hard 36 game and load up with an additional weekend game. And it's come to, we've played almost every game except 2 of the 36, and we just lost to 2 this past weekend. But it has been a challenge, to say the least. You have a 9-inning game sandwich in between a double hitter, 2 7s, and then the back end 9-inning game. That's a lot of baseball in 3 days. And fortunate for us, I think we were as deep in pitching as we've ever been. And that has really been the saving grace because we've had some injuries. But in terms of depth, we were able to get through that brutal, just add on your midweek, a midweek Wednesday game. You're talking about, over a 5-day period, 5 baseball games, basically.
Wow.
It was pretty brutal. But we've gotten through it. It's given a lot of the young players a chance to play because obviously you need to rest a lot of guys, particularly your key players for the weekend. So it's allowed for a lot of players to get playing time to keep everybody fresh, really.
Yeah, I was going to tell you I might have some eligibility left. So you need a righty, an old-fashioned right-hander.
Hey, man, right now in college baseball, man, with the arms and with the dead arms, this is the first season uninterrupted in really 3 years for college baseball. So we're right at a point in time where we're getting a lot of weary, tired, achy, beat up young baseball players.
Yeah. I was looking at May 15th, 2018. You won the MEAC Coach of the Year. What was it like winning a Coach of the Year for you? Because I know you've been building this program since 2010, and all the trials and tribulations you had to go through. And like this year, you don't have your field because they were doing refurbishing the Joe Cannon Stadium and all that stuff. You had to go find another place to play, and how difficult each year that you have to you have to go out every weekend, even after the season's over, to promote your baseball team.
Yeah, and that was a big award because it came after a lot of years of building this program. And whenever you can get an award like that from your peers in the game, because basically the voters are head coaches and sports information directors for your member schools. So it's an honor when you're recognized by your peers. So obviously, that was a big award, particularly given where the program was to where we finally brought it. I mean, we're now, when you look at it, if you take the COVID year out, the 2020 season that didn't really occur after 13 games, we got banged. We're a 20+ winning program now, 3 out of the last 4 years, and was the winningest team in our conference prior to being shut down in 2020 over a 2-year period. So we're starting to turn the tables. I mean, when you're competing and you're beating, really well-coached teams like Navy and Towson and Georgetown. We got a big win over them last year, then Richmond. And then you know that you're really getting the credibility that young recruits look for when they're choosing a college. And you're right, it never stops. I mean, whenever this thing ends, we'll be on the road for a good bit of the summer trying to get ahead of that 2023 class, as the 2022 class is all but wrapped up for us.
Yeah, you must have a very understanding wife.
Yep, she loves baseball. You gotta have a spouse that loves baseball.
That's good.
Look, the only thing, Chris, that I get heat for, I go to the hotel after a tough loss on the road, and my wife tell me why we lost. And in most cases, she has it. It's like, Dorothy, why did you bring that up? I know I left that kid in there too long, but she knows the game so well. She knows the person now on this team so well. When I make a boo-boo, she calls me out, Chris.
You have like a press conference when you get home. Next question.
Why did you leave number 14 in?
Next question.
Number 8.
No comment. Adam, you got something for Coach?
Yeah. I know you. I've seen the projections as well. You guys. For the NCAA tournament. So, what's it like to play at going up against a Power 5 school? Say a team from the ACC. At an ACC stadium or the Big 12 or the Pac-12 or what's it like for you guys? A small school going up, and playing at some of these college baseball powerhouses.
Look, man, I tell you what, it is pretty intimidating. I remember in 2013 when we were on it was opening college weekend, and we were the featured game on ESPN. It was Coppin at Arizona Wildcats. It was they were the defending champs. And then they had the ring ceremonies, and they had 4,800 people in the stands. And I'm walking towards home plate for the pregame, and there's Hall of Fame Andy Lopez there at home plate, and I almost fell down, man. I was so nervous. I was like, "Whoa, this is like as big as it gets." I mean, it was as big as it gets. The guys respond well, though. I think some of the recruiting, when we recruit, we use that as a carrot that we do play Pac-5, Atlantic Coast Conference. I mean, this year we were the WAC, the West Coast Conference champs. We opened up this season against
California Baptist.
That's right, California Baptist. Okay, played really well. I mean, we've opened up USC on the Pac-12 network 3 years ago. Wow. It is an environment like none. I mean, it's as close as you're going to get to making an NCAA regional. Right now, if you look at some of the projections that have us in the Knoxville, Tennessee region, and obviously we'd be opening up against the number 1 team in the nation, it would be Coppin in Tennessee. Ooh. But it's good experience for our guys. When they demonstrate they can pitch on a stage that big, when we come back to a more normal middle of the road conference or a mid-level conference, I think the guys' nerves are in check and they tend to perform better. So it is a great opportunity, great experience, and we look forward to putting those kids on as big a stage as we can find out there for them, particularly early in the season.
I think it's great during this time of year with everybody getting into conference play, and then you guys win if you make it to the MEAC championship and you move on to what you're saying to Tennessee, and you take on these big boys, and it's like every year in the College World Series regional, some team comes out of nowhere, and it's like a couple of years ago, Coastal Carolina just won the College World Series, and you're like, Okay, I didn't know they had a team down in South Carolina. Okay.
Stony Brook about 7 years ago, man.
Yeah, when they beat LSU.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. So it's fascinating to see all these little schools. Like it's like, we're gonna go play against you, and we're gonna play for 6 or 7 innings, and then all of a sudden you don't have the horses because they have everybody sitting in their dugout, and you have to call somebody out, and you need a right-hander. You guys have like everybody on your bus, and you're like, anybody have fresh arms? You're like you're like, you're playing with your people. I feel like they have people like stuck in a room, and like they just call people like, hey, I need a right-hander. Anybody in there? Come on out. It's like, really? And you guys are like, hey, where's our subs? It's like we need something, But it's great.
But it is like no sport. Baseball is more subjective to. If there's going to be a major upset in sport, it typically happens in baseball.
Right.
On any given day, first 1 to 9 outs. I mean, you can have a team that hit the ball right off the barrel, but if you hit it right at someone, okay, you feel the ball, you pitch the ball, 9 innings. We've seen teams from nowhere come out of games where they had no chance and they found a way to win. And that's the magical, fun part of the game of baseball. Right. Any given day, any given night, you can come out with a big win.
Hey, you see it in the major leagues, like last week, the Mets were down 7-1 and came back and won 8-7. You never know.
Yeah, that's right. Yep, that's baseball. That's baseball.
Exactly. You're not out to the last out. You could play 12, 13 innings, and and you can still play until whenever you feel like finishing the game, and you still win. Somebody will win. There's always a win and a loss. There it is.
No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. There's no ties in baseball except for in spring training when they don't really care after 7 innings or 8 innings. They just go back to their places. But well, Coach Reed, thanks so much for coming on tonight. I know you're a busy guy. Thanks for taking some time for us. Safe trip down to Norfolk. I know there's going to be hopping down there with the Orioles minor league system. They got Rutschman and DJ Hall pitching tonight. So
that's right, down for the ties.
Yeah, for the Tide. So hopefully you could get in there before the crowds get there.
No, we're looking forward to it, man. Look, always enjoy coming on your show, Chris. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Go easy.
Okay,
we will. Thanks,
guys. See you.
Bye now.
Bye. All right, that's Coach Reed, who a very nice gentleman. I enjoy talking to him. Talking baseball, I could sit here for hours talking baseball with him.
Oh yeah,
he's a great guy. It was funny. I know we did a game a couple years ago, and I know some station that we're not going to mention, was upset that we did their game. Well, we probably do a better job.
Yeah.
Just
you gotta watch it. You get scooped. That's how it happens.
Just if you fall asleep, guess who's going to be waking up? I pounced on that like I was eating a Big Mac. So anyway. anyway,
no comment.
No comment.
All right.
It's 9:17. We're waiting for JerryKutz, who writes for the Florida State and the Osceola. What is the
Osceola?
Yeah, the horse. I forgot the horse.
Osceola.
Yeah, so he's down there at the spring meetings down there in beautiful Florida for the ACC Media Day for spring meetings for the coaches, and they're working on different things. They're talking about in the ACC starting next year, getting rid of divisions in football. I think they should. I think it's dumb to have Coastal and Atlantic.
Yeah.
Just go back to the old-fashioned way. And
it's called. Have the 2 best teams in the ACC play for the.
And also on that note, starting next year, I think it is, MLB is going to have all the teams play every team twice.
That's right.
I heard that.
That is correct,
during spring training, I heard that. So
they're going to implement it for the whole season.
I know. I heard it during spring training that they're going to be like the NBA. They're going to play like you're going to see Mets.
So you're going to have teams that are just going to play through all 32 teams, away game and a home series.
So how many? So it's supposed to be 162. So I guess,
each team's going to do it twice.
Wow! So you might have a 2-game series with somebody. Just you can't really do a 3-game and then turn around and do another 3-game and then
Yeah.
Well, that'd be cool for people in Baltimore to see.
Because they want to make it more interesting to the fan base.
Well, I think that's a great idea.
I like it. I mean,
how many times do you see the Orioles Yankees, Red Sox, the Blue Jays all play each other at Camden Yards at least half dozen times throughout
And
the year.
speaking of right now, the Orioles are taking on the St. Louis Cardinals as we speak. In St. Louis, that's pretty cool. The Redbirds against the Baby Birds, and they used to be the St. Louis Browns back in the old days.
And actually, I'll give you an update on the game. It's 4-0 Baltimore. They just finished the 5th inning, going to the top of the 6th. Actually, our Kramer Robertson, who is a former LSU baseball product, he got called up today to the Cardinals. And actually, I believe that former Orioles standout and LSU standout Ben McDonald is at the game tonight.
He's probably doing the game for Masson, probably.
I think he is. I do think he is there for Masson. So that's kind of cool for him.
Exactly. So, we're waiting for Jerry, but I think right now he's busy with the spring meetings. Let's play the second part of my interview with Mark Packer. Mark Packer is down there right now as we speak, doing the morning show for Packer and Durham on the ACC network. So the ACC network, you can find that on your YouTube TV. You can find it on Comcast. Mark is a very nice gentleman. Enjoy talking to him, and got to know him at the Cotton Bowl a couple of years ago down there in Dallas. Him and I were just on the sidelines talking, and we were actually at when Clemson won the Cotton Bowl. Him and I were in the middle of the field, and he's like, "This state is pretty cool." I was like, "Yeah, it is."
Speaking of Jerry World down there in Dallas, there's a thing going around now that because Dallas, the Metroplex itself, is expanding so quickly that fans want to have a second NFL team in Dallas.
That's what I read that.
Well, they used to have 2 teams in Dallas back in the AFL. The Chiefs used to be the Dallas Texans.
Yeah,
because they feel the city is just growing so quickly that the city could support 2 NFL franchises.
Well, let's try it. But where are they going to be playing? They're going to split time in Carolina?
That's a good question. I mean,
or they could use the Rangers ballpark right down next door to
the thing,
and the old ballpark and turn it into a stadium for them.
Why not? I mean, why not? That's what the mayor of Dallas, has said. He wants to see a second NFL team in Dallas, but it's like, I'd like to see it in San Antonio. I mean, you have the Alamo Dome, it's used for UTSA football on Saturdays. But
well, let's get to the Mark Packer interview, my second part with him. We talked about spring meetings and his love for the San Francisco Giants. So here it is. Next week, you're going to be down there for spring meetings. What is your narrative that you and Wes are looking forward to? I know you get a chance to talk to coaches and administrators and all that stuff. What are you looking forward to at the spring meetings?
I think right now, and I've been doing this a long time, I have never seen college sports at a critical moment as far as the crossroads than we're in right now. I mean, just think, Chris, in the last 10 months, when name, image, and likeness became front and center on July the 1st, 2021, I don't think any of us thought that we would find ourselves in the position that we're in right now based on just that move alone. Between the transfer portal, name, image, and likeness, it is a critical moment for the direction of what is college sports going to turn into. Can you put the genie back in the bottle? As I've said before, we don't even know where the bottle is. How are you going to put the genie back? That bottle, Bronco might have that in his back pocket somewhere for all we know. So I think next week, the conversation, we'll talk some football. Obviously, we'll talk sports. It's what we do. But I think where we are from who's going to take ownership, where's the leadership, where's the vision, what's the direction, where are we going when it comes to name, image, and likeness, tampering, the transfer portal? Are we going to put up some guidelines? At what point in time does Congress get involved, if they can even get involved? Bubba Cunningham told us recently he thinks it could be 2 or 3 years until Congress can do something about it. Well, I mean, we saw how crazy life has been in college sports in 10 months. If you tell me there's no rules or regulations for 3 years, what is college sports? I mean, it's kind of scary if you think about it. So I think that will be front and center topic 1 and 1A next week down in Florida. It'll be very, very interesting.
Yeah, like that situation going on in Pittsburgh with the wide receiver who is from Maryland, my state, who wants to go to Southern Cal, and Patrick Ducey's like, wait a minute, that's tampering. Yeah, so that's another issue we have right now because they're trying to figure out, did Lincoln Riley violate something? But there's no rules, right? So you're like, who's doing what?
Well, that's the thing. And Pat was talking about that about 6 weeks ago about tampering, and nobody was really paying attention. And he even said, hey, I just found out my man Kenny Pickett had been contacted by other sources at Notre Dame. I mean, so crazy stuff's going on. I mean, and I don't know where Jordan, he could still go back to Pittsburgh for all we know as this time we're talking right now. That could change 5 minutes from now for all we know. But I saw a story today like Zay Flowers at Boston College said he was offered $600,000 before the deadline of May 1st by multiple teams around the country. He didn't name any names, but to think that this is just starting is crazy. This has been going on for a long, long time. The difference is now it's all legal. It's above board. And so you've got crazy zealots. You got boosters that don't care. They're doing whatever it takes to make sure that their team is loaded with players. And hey, I'm a pro NIL guy. I'm all for a student athlete being able to make some money, but the tampering and all this stuff, we got to cut that out. I mean, that is just utterly ridiculous.
Yeah. I like what Kenny Pickett had. He had his offensive line to get a free meal. I think that was great, for last season. He had like some restaurant gave him and his offensive line a free meal. And, I thought that's cool. That's a great way of putting your name out there.
Well, and it was smart because he realized, hey, those big dudes now, if he's sitting there putting all that coin in his back pocket, the big guys are looking around and going, hey, I can't even afford a pizza. Ole, ole, hey, Kenny, you're running for your life. So Pickett's no fool. Not only was he a terrific talent and a great kid, but he was a smart guy too. But that's what you got to do. And again, we haven't even addressed how coaches are going to have to deal with the amount of money these kids are making in the locker room. I mean, folks get jealous. You wonder what everybody comes from a different economic background. It is a wild mess right now in college athletics. Every one of these coaches, I know they're making a lot of money, but they're earning every single penny.
Yeah, I think the Pack and Durham show should be sponsored by Bojangles, maybe.
I'm all for it.
Maybe Popeyes for chicken, sandwiches. The spicy chicken sandwich. I think you guys should capitalize on this stuff.
Well, if they allow me to sell it, we'd look like a NASCAR team coming in here every morning. That might be the most embarrassing thing ever. We'd have a sticker on every inch of the wall if I had anything to do with it.
Yeah, I know. That's funny. So I know you a couple times. I met you in person and all that stuff, and I found out that you're a big San Francisco Giants fan. So how did a kid who went to Clemson University became a San Francisco Giants fan?
I grew up in North Carolina. I've lived all over the place, but North Carolina was home, still is now. And I've always loved baseball. But growing up, I mean, everybody on our street either loved the Braves because everybody could watch the Braves, or they loved the Yankees because they always won. So I was like, man, forget that. I'm not going to root for the Braves or the Yankees. So I wanted to find my team. And back 100 years ago when I was a kid, there was only one Major League Baseball game of the week. I mean, this day and age, there's 15 games on every night. But back when I was growing up, there'd be one game on a Saturday, and it would usually be like Tony Kubek and, Kurt Gowdy or somebody calling the game, Joe Garagiola, those guys. And I remember one Saturday afternoon, the San Francisco Giants were on. Willie Mays was playing for the Giants, and I thought they had cool uniforms, and I loved Willie Mays. I was like, man, I know they're out in San Francisco, which felt like back then, man, it was 1 trillion miles away. But I just said, those are going to be my guys. And they were awful forever. I mean, they were awful forever. So the fact that they were able to win 3 World Series titles in 2010, 12, and 14, it's been a pretty good run for me. And, of course, last year they won the National League West, finally beating the Dodgers. So the Giants became my guys. And I was the only guy in the street, only guy in the neighborhood, only guy at school that would like the Giants. I'd have a Giants baseball hat or a jersey or whatever, and I thought it was cool. So those were my guys, and I've always stuck with them, and the rest is history.
All right, folks, that's part 2 of our interview with Mark Packer from Packer and Durham. You can watch them weekday mornings at 7 a.m. on the ACC network with Wes Durham, who is a very good guy, nice guy as well. Both great gentlemen who know their knowledge of ACC sports and all that stuff. Speaking of Giants baseball, I found this. We do this on this date in baseball history or sports history. Charlie Lee from the Montreal Expos on this date in 1981 pitched a good old no-no at the Olympic Stadium in Montreal. 4-0. Yeah.
Wow. I missed the Montreal Expos.
Hey, there's Gary Carter. Gary Carter's like, Gary, what are you doing? Are you humping the guy? Oh, he's jumping up and down. Okay. It just looked like he's grabbing a guy, like, Jesus, Gary. It's personal space. Anyway. So, on this date in 1981, Charlie Lee pitched a no-no against the San Francisco Giants 4-0 in Apter and Montreal. So, I hope one day Montreal gets a team and brings back the great days of Expo baseball and, the kid and the La Grande Orange, the good old Rusty Staub, who I had a chance to meet one time at Citi Field. I was walking in with him in the press box, and it was one of those hot days, and he was very cool, nice guy. And I'm like, wow, this is Rusty Staub. I was like, wow. I was like, I watched this guy when I was a kid. I was like, geez, it's always cool. Yeah. So next week we'll be on the program. We'll be live on the program next week at 7:30. It's Preakness week, so we'll try to get some. We'll get Scott Wyckoff to join us, plus KyleTroup will join us as well. Hopefully he'll be okay with his. Hopefully he feels better, and our thoughts go out to him tonight with his personal situation. So hope he's okay. We also do on this date in music history. Bob Dylan in 1964 started his first UK tour. So we have UK. This is like a UK theme on the program tonight. We had Richard Graves from London who covered the NFL, on our program earlier. If you guys tuned in, so he started his tour on this day in 1964, and I got some old-fashioned black and white, Bob Dylan here for a minute.
Oh, my name, it ain't nothing. My age, it means less. The country I come from is called the Midwest. I was taught and brought up there, the laws to abide, and at the land that
I'm looking for subtitles.
Yeah.
Because I saw Dylan in concert a couple years ago, a long time ago at Towson University here, and it was at the Towson Center, and I think the whole concert was $25, and I only figured out 5 words in English.
Wow.
It was like I'm like, can somebody give me like a closed caption? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, thank God. I'm like, thank God. And I had my buddy with me, a friend of ours, and right before the show came up, they had this like nice aroma came through the crowd, and he goes, "Dude, what's that?" I'm like, "It's weed." Come on, man. He's like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah, these people are stoned. They're stoned. You're potheads." Okay. Bob Dylan is pothead with marijuana. Nothing against marijuana, folks. I understand people might need it for other situations. I have no idea what's going on here. Oh, gotcha. Okay. Anyway, small jab here in the office. Bam. We're going to leave you folks tonight with I was going to play this earlier in the evening, but we got to put this on now. Let me find it here. Let me get it. And I know there's some Philadelphia Phillies fans sitting out there, still crying from last week's comeback win last Thursday. I was watching it. Was actually here at the house, and it was 7-1, and my mom was on the phone, and Lindor hits a home run. I'm like, okay, 7-3. My mom hangs up the phone. They come back and win the game 8-7. So I said to my mother, like, I guess I got to call you next time there's a Met game. You know what my mom said? Give me the thumbs up, So we're going to leave you with this lovely piece of comeback. The Mets, big comeback win.
Well, that's all right. That's kind of like what it was with me at the Ironbirds several years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Ironbirds were losing 2-1 in the top of the 9th inning. I went out to sit in the car because it was a fireworks night.
Yeah.
So I wanted to watch the fireworks from the car. So once they were done, I could sit out before the traffic. Well, half hour went by. Lights were still on. 45 minutes went by. Lights were still on.
Wow.
I got curious and went back in to see what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. Ironbirds were batting in the top of the ninth. They were losing 2-1.
Right.
I walked back in. It was still top of the ninth inning, and the Ironbirds were winning 21-2.
What? Whoa.
Whoa.
Okay, then.
Yeah, that's the same thing I said.
Adam almost fell out of his seat on that one. He was like,
I almost did. I was like, I was like,
yeah, I don't know what happened, but there's apparently like 4 or 5 home runs hit. I mean, they had, 3-run shots, 2-run shots. They had a grand slam. I was like, God, I missed all this.
Wow.
wow.
Well, folks, thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks for our good friend DaveRyan stopping by, and thanks for Coach Reed from Coppin State. They're going to be playing Norfolk State this Thursday down in Norfolk, Virginia. Also, thanks for Disco DanFord for joining us. It was a privilege talking to him from Louisiana. So we're going to leave you tonight with the greatest comeback in Met history. 25 years in the making. Last Thursday when they beat the Philadelphia Phillies. So, folks, we'll see y'all.
Sorry, Jared.
I haven't heard from him at all this year. By the way, we'll leave you with that. Here's the the TV call from the folks from SNY. Gary Cohen and Keith Fernandez with the call. So here it is. Good night, folks.
All right.
And Starling unloads one, deep left center. Back to the warning track goes Herrera near the wall. It's off the base. Here's Nimmo around third. He'll come in to score, and the Mets take the lead. Unbelievable! Starling Marte with his 3rd consecutive hit drives in the go-ahead run with a double, and the Mets with 7 runs in the 9th lead it 8-7. The best thing you can say if you're